Hey guys, it's Erin, and we are back with another mixed media menagerie. As you know, this is a monthly collaboration between Laura, Nicole, and myself, and this month we are joined with the fabulous Tina. I won't attempt her last name because I'll probably butcher it, but all her links will be down in the description box below, so be sure to check out her awesomeness. And this month we're going to be playing with three things. We've got fabric, oil sticks, and birds. So let's jump into the supplies. Okay, so I've got my desk cleared, and here is my menagerie basket. We've got some fabric. I found this canvas. It's a little bit stiff, so I thought that would be good to work with. Here is my oil sticks by Shiva. And how did this little guy get in there? There's a little pincushion guy, and I believe I actually used another project way, a long time ago. I'll link it up there if you want to see me use those oil sticks again. My journal, and then some just random ephemera. I'm not sure if we'll use that, but let's set that off to the side. And then we're going to have birds, which will come into play. You know how this goes. I just sort of go with the flow of the layers. And see where it's going to take us. So where to begin? I think I want to cut this fabric. I thought it would be cool to like maybe have some sort of a pocket insert, like a flap out. I love saying that, but like, you know, just a little page that you add in there. So it's like an extra page. So I'm just kind of measuring here about where I want it. And then I cut, of course, the wrong place, but that's fine because I'm just going to flip this and then continue cutting it. So it's not the full size of my page, but yeah, it's going to give us a good little flap out there. And so let me just trim this edge here. Like I have an idea of where I sort of want to take this project, but at the same time, I'm just going to see where each layer takes us. So we've got our stiff little piece of canvas here. So there is my fabric. Cross that off the list. Check. One prompt down. Now, I want to go ahead and paint this white. So I'm going to take my gesso and go ahead and paint the entire front of this white so it kind of matches with the page a little bit better. So I'm going to do that. Give it a good dry. Once that's done, I won't make you watch all of this because, as you know, putting gesso on canvas takes a while because it sucks it in. So while I'm doing that, I remembered this month. Yay! I'm going to go ahead and put my little taped border around the outside of my pages and done. And I'm going to go dark. We're going to start off dark this month, and I'm just going to put on some black paint, and look at that. Oh, I'm so cheeky. I made a little paint face. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint this black all over the page. In hindsight, it's shiny and I didn't really like that, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So once that is good and done, go ahead and give it a good dry, and then we'll move on to the next step. So once I gessoed my canvas, of course it got super, like it started rolling up, as canvas does when it gets wet. But I'm going to I drew this little meditation guy, and so I'm going to go ahead and trace it onto my canvas using some graphite paper here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just kind of a little, we're going to make him like a silhouette, and or a her, whatever. It's a person. We're going to put this person on our page here. And then we're going to, I'm going to try and see, let's see if I can use some tape to kind of tape it down so we can paint in our silhouette. And of course, you know, that's not working. And I would cut all of this out, but sometimes I like to leave it in just to remind you guys that, oh my gosh, I'm only human and I have foobarrs and make mistakes and get struggles with my project as well. So I'm going to take some of that black paint. I had a little bit extra, so I scooped it off of the journal page, and I'm going to use that to paint in my little person. So I've been doing a lot of meditation lately, and oh, it's been such a lifesaver. I mean, I'm not a monk. I'm not perfect with meditating by any means, but it's definitely a way to calm. I feel a little bit more centered, and just kind of helps get me out of that monkey mind where I continue thinking about the same things over and over and over and over again, and you know, it gets stressful. So I thought bringing in a reminder that this year, because you know, that's what I feel like my art journal is just a way, like a yearbook of where my mental state was or the things that I did. So I'm going to put this little meditation guy And I kind of liked his arms up just because, you know, it was a different position than just having the Om with your hands down. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to create something a little bit more fun to look at. So once we have this person all painted in black, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect because there is no perfection here in this journal. It's just for play and fun and exploration. So I added a little bit of white around the sides where I kind of went out of the lines, but just to, you know, make it a little more even. We're going to paint over this, but, you know, I just wanted to have a little bit, you know, some of that dark covered up just a little bit. So once we have that down, we are going to move on to our next step. This has been so much fun so far. So I'm going to try and see if I can put this off to the side and let it dry. And as you can tell, I took black gesso and went over the black acrylic paint because it was just way too shiny for me. And now I have some white gesso, and I'm just going to take a makeup sponge and push that white gesso through a scripted stencil, and this is just going to give us a little bit more interest and fun in the background. So that is what I'm doing here, creating those layers. It's all about the layers. You know, I'm not sure where I'm going to go next, but I know that I want to have some white on the page, because then once I pull those borders off and have that crisp white edge, that white really pops upon the page. So there we've got that, and we're going to go ahead and dry it really well. And while that was drying, I took some double-sided tape, added it to the end where I was going to glue my flap on, and then I glued a piece of cardstock of scrapbook paper onto the back. Now we've got our oil slicks here, and you can see they I haven't used them in like years, so they dried up. But here is the magic. It's really hard, but I'm going to take just these pliers here and peel off just the top, just a little bit to show. And you can see it's still perfect and oily slickness. So what I'm going to take, and what my whole vision was for this was to do like the an aura, like the chakra colors around an aura. So we all have this magnetic field around us, and you know, part of meditation is you know, like paying attention to your emotions and your energetic health and your frequencies, all of that stuff, which I know gets a little bit woo-woo. I am a Reiki master, so I'm all about the energy work and, you know, clearing our fields, because if we are empaths, which I'm sure a lot of you artists are, we have a tendency to pull in other people's emotions, and we just get bogged down and stressed out, and we're just not sure if we're coming or going. So it's so important to maintain not only our energetic boundaries, but also to clear our energetic fields often, so we don't have those, you know, bogged down feelings, and we kind of know where our emotions and our feelings are versus, you know, the end of ours where someone else's begins. So there's, again, that energetic boundary. So, yeah, you could dive into chakras and, you know, all of the meanings if you want to. This is an art video, so we're not going to get into that, but it's definitely something I encourage you to look into if it calls to you. So it's, again, like rainbow colors. So we're going to do red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And I did not have a purple slick or oil stick, so I will show you here in a little bit how I went ahead and created that. But I'm just going to go around each one and yeah, just kind of bring in some of that energetic fun rainbowness. So here I am mixing up my purple, and I just took a little bit of that blue and then some of the red, and I'm using the Gamvar to just mix it up to make the purple so I could finish off my little painting. And here it is, and you can see that purple there around the outside, which still matches that fluorescent look because we combine those two. So that is the fun thing about the oil slicks, is they definitely do blend together. All right, so we've used the oil slicks and we've used the fabric, and our last prompt is birds. And so I just sketched out some birds onto some copy paper, and now I'm taking some white pastel and I'm rubbing it onto the back of the page, and I'm going to use this like a transfer because I can't use the graphite as it'll be black and I won't really see it on the black background. So I'm just going to go ahead and trace over my birds, and this will give me just a light outline on the outside. And then I will go ahead and take a white gel pen and then go around those before I head on to the next step. So here I'm just debating where I am going to put my little flap out, and then if I want to draw those birds in or not. I don't want them to be covered and waste time, so I'm trying to be work a little smarter instead of harder. So if I have my bird here, I don't think I'm going to do those ones. So let's just focus on these top ones that we have for now. And what I'm going to do is take some gesso and go ahead and paint in each of these birds to make them pop a little bit more. I'm going to probably do 2 coats so that way they're nice and covered, and then we will come back with the next step. Now that that's dry, I'm going to take some Turner Gold gouache and I'm going to sprinkle that around the page. This is going to bring some of that gold that we're going to use on the bird into the background. And I use the gouache because if it gets on the bird, I can just take a paintbrush and then wipe it off. And I've got some of my favorite, the Diane Townsend Fluorescent soft rolled pastels. Oh, I love these. But we're going to bring those rainbow colors, those chakra colors into the birds. So I'm just going to take each of the colors and draw it around the bird for now. And then I will grab my dry paintbrush and I'm going to smudge out all around the birds and give them kind of that ethereal glow. So that is what we're going to do next.
This lonely track, all my worries of yesterday, I can see so wild and free. We were just kids.
All right, so I'm adding a little bit more, kind of so it's like the colors are moving up into the birds. I don't know if it really comes across that way, but that is what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down my page. I'm going to wipe off that pastel there just so we get a nice good adhesion. And I'm going to figure it out here. Just kind of gauge where I want it. That looks about right. And then I'm going to carefully push this down. My fingers are dirty, so I'm going to try and use the side of my hand and then push it down really well. And now we've got like this blank page with nothing. So I went ahead and sketched out a bird and cut it out. And it still looks like it's disappearing, but that is okay because we're going to bring in some Daniel Smith Gold Gesso, which is another one of my absolute favorites. I'm going to go ahead and paint this on. I won't make you wait, but it ends up being like about 3 coats or so to get it nice and opaque. And while we're waiting for that, don't forget the tag along. Use the hashtag Mixed Media Menagerie and also the hashtag MMM. July 22, so that way at the end of the month we can just click on those hashtags and see everybody's artwork or your videos if you want to play along with us. I can't wait to see what you all create. So let's get back into the video. And voila, here it is all painted. And I want to make sure most of it is on the white because that way then when it's closed you won't see that the bird is underneath it. And I'm just going to take some Oohoo glue stick here and glue that down onto the page. Let's get that glue everywhere. And then I just got to line it up here. I don't want the beak. I want the beak to be on the white part. I don't want it to be like weird. And it is going to get kind of mushed because that canvas is thick with that paper. I don't know. It's weird, but it works. In hindsight, maybe I would have used something a little different, but you know what? For now, it's going to work. So I'm going to take some white pastel and go around the black part of the bird. This is going to make it pop off of the page a little bit more. And then on the white side, I'm going to use black. I love this. I love this whole idea. It's like, you know, we live in this dualistic world. You know, there's polarities. So we've got dark and light and good and bad and, you know, all of those things. And just for me, it's kind of, again, that reminder that even when you feel like you're in the darkness, you can shift that vibration and jump into the light. Yeah, it's still all about that energy work, but also that, you know, this whole world, like this life, it's just subjective. Everybody's going to have a different view. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about this is that how I see things is going to be totally different from someone else. And I love that. I love seeing, you know, how people perceive things, if that makes sense. I know I'm just rambling today. I'm just feeling like in that rambly mood. But yeah, anyways, so we have this bird and, you know, it's golden. It's got its wings and it's ready to fly and take flight. And that's what I encourage all of you is don't be scared. Just take flight and fly and try things. And if you don't like it, that's totally fine. You just pivot and then try something different. Like we don't have to be, you know, stuck in anything that we do in life. You make a decision. You don't like it, then make a new decision and change it. And I think that for me, reminding myself that is freedom in itself, that I always have a choice of how I want to show up and how I want to respond to things that, you know, come at me, however they come at me, situations, you know, stories, drama, whatever it is, I get to choose how I show up and respond to that. So so anyways, okay. Enough rambling. I'm just going around one more time to go ahead and really sharpen up that darkness around the white there. And then also I'm going to do that again on the white. I'm just adding a little bit of gel pen and then kind of brightening up. I was going to put a sentiment, but then I decided, you know what? I just sort of like it how it is. And again, it goes back to that, you know, art being subjective. Like I want people to look at it and I want them to come up with their own emotions and feelings towards it and not have like a sentiment where it's going to tell them, you know, maybe how I want them to feel. So there's that, and that's my explanation, and I'm sticking to it. So, all right, the last thing that we have to do here is pull off our tape. So there we go. That's the closed window. I really like how it came together. Thank you guys so much for journeying with me today. We'll pull the tape off here and reveal the finished product. It was definitely a journey today, but I was so excited to have you guys come along with me for another Menagerie video. Here it is, the finished piece. I'm loving how the birds just pop off of the page. They almost have like a 3D effect with that pastel around them. And then there we've got our golden bird on the inside with our both light and dark, the reminder of duality in there. And yeah, we're just taking flight. And yeah, I love how it turned out actually. It was so much fun to do. Thank you guys again for hanging out with me. Be sure to like the video. Lots of love going out to you all. Don't forget to check out the fabulous ladies down in the description box below. And as always, until next time, happy creating.